So here's one for the seasoned and novice hikers. I wasn't even going to do a video today, but something interesting is occurring. Now, if I do a spin around right now, can any of you tell me where Twmbarlwm is? Is it there? Is it there? Now, I happen to know from the fact that I walked up the path behind me here that Twmbarlwm is in fact over there. But if you had no idea what you were doing, this fog would definitely catch you out. This is something that, well, I actually don't kind of, well, I mean, I guess you could do it as a novice hiker. You could do it. And you can also hear this absolutely dead quiet over. Listen. So this video is pretty much going to be a I don't know, reasonable length video. I look like crap because obviously the fog up here is quite damp. So my hair is a bit damp at the moment. Ozzy's off over there. I can hardly see him, but I know he's there. And I am at a little crossroads at the moment. Up that way, I happen to know, is one of the Cwmcarn, parts of the Cwmcarn forest, and that way, I happen to know, is Twmbarlwm. Believe it or not, it is in there. And here he comes now. There comes Ozzy. I'm going to do a quick circle around and film it from the other side of the camera in a minute, just to show you guys properly. But if you didn't know the area, you definitely would have to bring some kind of navigation app with you. I've obviously got OS maps on my phone. Yes, there's a paper map in my bag as well. Some people were nagging me to get a paper map and not just rely on the offline maps on my phone. Not nagging. It sounds like they were doing something bad, but they weren't. But it's very easy to get yourself turned around up here if you don't know what you're doing. So we're going to walk that way. But first, I'm going to give you guys a quick spin around and show you through the other camera on the back what this looks like a bit better. See what I mean? Down there is a farm. Down there is Twmbarlwm car park. That way is Twmbarlwm. Over that way, you can just about see the trees through the fog. Believe it or not, that's one of the areas of Cwmcarn Forest. Crazy. You could easily get turned around up here without, because you cannot see points of interest. We'll go on about that a bit more in a minute. So, another good example. That back there, I've gone, what, 100 metres? Can't see where I came from. And I still cannot see a freaking mountain named Twmbarlwm. But the local knowledge of the area means I know where these trails go. And it is literally a case of, because it's that dense up here at the moment, it is literally a case of knowing the directions left and right. Up there is one of the ridges that goes along to Twmbarlwm. It is literally a case of knowing left and right on these trails without any visual markers whatsoever. It's fun. It's fun, don't get me wrong. Now I know, well, I'm not going to do that one, but I know if I take the face tracking off a minute, I can look over my shoulder a bit better. Oh, you guys might not even be able to see it. Oh, you can. Right there. That's a path. I'm not going to take that one though. Let's get you back on face tracking. There we go. Get you back on face tracker so I don't have to worry about moving the joystick around. I'm not going to use that one. One, it's extremely steep, and I know that one is not necessarily the easiest way. Although someone who doesn't know the area would think that's an easy way to go. Nope. In this case, I'm better off going the long way, because that is extremely steep. Doesn't look like it, but it is. And it's also extremely slippery, especially this time of year. And in this extremely foggy, damp weather, the ground is not dry at all. It's not completely bogged out like it normally would be, but it's not dry. I'm going to go find you guys something else as well to have a look at, which would be a good idea, wouldn't it? But you can see the path slowly disappearing behind me, which is not ideal. Oop. And I just stepped in where I said wasn't too boggy. Anyway, guys, you can just about see a good spot for us to show off, so I'm going to go up there and show you guys more. And the face tracking is really struggling with all this fog around at the moment for some reason. You guys see that? Just about in the distance. That would be Twmbarlwm. And I would say, from me right now, that's probably about, I don't know, it's got to be less than a mile. Well, maybe about a mile from here. Yeah, about a mile from here. And you can only just about see it in the background, and we've already kind of lost it in the camera. Oh, there it is. Now, I never use this particular path by ear, but I know it's here in case I ever need it to find my way up or down. And what am I using to help me find this path? That. But Jason, that's just a fence. I happen to know that fence, if I follow it up this path, leads me to a gate which then takes me up towards Twmbarlwm. Normally I would be going way over that way towards one of the bits of Cwmcarn forest. I'm going to try and walk and talk up this hill a minute. Towards Cwmcarn forest, or one of the bits of it. And then I would walk along the ridge. But based on the visibility up here right now, by the way, that big massive grey thing, that's the sky behind me. Can't see shit. Can't see any distance points of interest. So, walking towards Cwmcarn forest over that way, if you weren't using a map or anything, you'd definitely not be able to see this fence or the mountain. And I know, coming right up by here now, Ozzy's already demonstrating it for me, is the gate that I mentioned. And he's waiting very politely in the gateway. Well, it's one of the gates. So, you can either get to this point. Let me take the face tracking off so I can lower you down. You can get to this point where this gate is, and you can follow this path here and then go up that way towards Twmbarlwm. That's one of the ways you can go. There's also another gate a bit further up there as well. Should I use this gate? Yeah. Let's use this gate. Go on through. And then Twmbarlwm is right by... I'm mirrored. By there. Sorry, the camera's mirrored the other way around, so it's a bit different. I'm going to lose tracking. There we go. Get that tracking, camera. Come on. I know I'm ugly at the moment, but come on, track me. There we go. So we're going to go through the gate. I've already lost track of the path behind me down there. But guess what? The wall. I know if I need to get from this gate to the Twmbarlwm car park, I could just follow this wall and then the fence. It pays to have some local knowledge when you're doing some hikes. And a bit of adventure. Come on! Good boy! He's a good boy. He's a good boy. We made it to the top. Let's play another quick game for anybody that doesn't have local knowledge. Can anybody tell me which way is home? I know which way is home. This is the door of the Explorer, isn't it? Can you find the house? That was a lot creepier than it should have been. Right. Is that way home? Or is it that way? As you guys saw in the previous clip, every single direction is not viewable, not visible from up here for what I would say is, well, half a mile. The fog has come in thicker again, which means it's getting very damp up here right now. And Ozzy is down by there playing in the grass. I hear sheep. I should probably call him back. Oh, he's already coming back. That's good. So I'm just watching Ozzy playing down there on the thing. Anyone who wouldn't know the local area, and I keep saying this obviously, wouldn't have a damn clue where to go right now. You'd be completely lost. Someone down there is a car park and someone's peeping their own. Maybe they're lost. Maybe they're trying to lure back a lost hiker or something using the sound of a car horn. Who knows? But we just came up that little path by there and then immediately lost every single path we used to get up here originally. Ozzy's having a whale of a time. He's never been up here in this heavy of a fog before. Now if I come over this side of the mountain a little bit, now I can see the pile of rocks at the bottom of the path down there. But you can't see much. And you can literally see there's a pathway down there. I'm going to switch you guys around so you can have a look. Now, do you see that pile of rocks way down there just past Ozzy? Zoom in on those a bit. That, following up a little bit, and the gate we came through is completely gone. Down there is the way back to the car park. Over that way is Betis, following this little path down here, the steps, but as soon as you get down to the bottom of the steps you could just about see the way you got to go, which is to the left. And then somewhere over that side, over the opposite side, is Risker's over there somewhere and Cwmcarn's over there somewhere, because way over by there is Cwmcarn Forest Drive. And all you can see is the bottom of the steps coming off Twmbarlwm and just a little bit of greenery by there for that field. And then that way, off the other side of the mountain, that Ozzy's also following us for as well, because he's following this instruction in yours. Yeah. Can anyone see Twmbarlwm over there? And then Pontypool that way? Normally you can. See what I mean now? If you didn't have local knowledge of this area or any sense of direction whatsoever, you would have no clue how to get home from up here. Someone could literally blindfold you place you on top of this mountain with zero, if you had no knowledge, you'd be stuck. Because they don't signpost this bit. Back that way, towards Cwmcarn, a lot of the footpaths are signposted. Down the other way, the nearest footpath signpost that I know of is about 2 miles away. But can I tell you which direction it is in? Yes, I can. Would it help you if you didn't have local knowledge? Not at all. I can tell you where it is. That's no good if you're up on top of the mountain and you have no idea what direction in 2 miles you've got to go to get to the signpost that tells you which way is home. Yeah. I mean, I guess that was kind of a rant about local footpath signposts, I guess, wasn't it? I do recommend coming up Twmbarlwm to a lot of people. If you're up here for the views, I wouldn't do it today. I would definitely come up here on a much warmer, less foggy day. But it's still fun. It's still fun to come up here. It's basically you're taking yourself from your normal comfort zone and putting yourself into a slightly less comfort zone, in which I am now about to go that way towards Cwmcarn Forest Drive, and there'll be another nice little viewpoint that I can show you guys once we get to one of the little seating areas over there. In the meantime, if I see anything interesting on the way, I'll show you guys in a little B-roll clip. But I'm going to show you something interesting quite quickly now, because this looks quite funny. Watch. What you doing, Oz? You watching people? See that? See that? That is the first sign in miles. Twmbarlwm. That way. Twmbarlwm is up there. Yes, it is. Switch you guys to FPV mode. There we go. Makes it a little bit easier for you. Twmbarlwm is up there. And it's getting a little bit clearer. If you look, this is the only sign in miles, basically, because we're on the Cwmcarn Forest Drive side, and Ozzy's waiting not so politely to go through this gate. So we're going to go up there now, and we're going to go up and around, and then we come back through that way. Look at the area though, all the fog. It looks cool. That's one of the reasons why I carried on doing it. It just looks cool. Ozzy, be patient, mate. We've made it to one of my little picnic spots that I like to come to up here. Up on Cwmcarn. You notice I got a bit colder, so the scarf's back on now. Although I just noticed it's not on properly. Now, the fog was going away. And what you guys would have seen down there, take the face tracking off a minute, is you would have seen a view of Cwmcarn. But instead, you can't see much. People would say, well, Jace, why are you bothering to hike all the way up there? It's damp, it's cold. I'm sat on a bench at the moment that is basically soaking wet. But luckily I got like a little nature hike, like a sitting tarp thing, like a small tarp, little plastic tarp rolled up in your bag with the size of a pocket thing. It's great. Why would I bother coming up here, even though everything's wet? Everything's cold, you can't see anything. One, exercise. Both physical and mental exercise, it's still really good for you. Even though you can't see much, you're still on an adventure. And I'm still out with Ozzy. Talking a bit Aussie. Oh, you guys can see him, he's behind me. You guys can see him better than I can at the moment, he's behind me somewhere. I just saw him on the camera then in the corner. And now he's in front of me wondering why we haven't started eating lunch yet. We're going to sit here, we're going to have a bit of lunch. I'm probably going to end the video here. But it's also quite otherworldly, sort of magical sort of environment when the fog is this thick. Because you can't see much until you start getting close to it. And at the moment, you can't really see bugger all. And then you could probably see, if I was to go down by there now, you could probably see maybe about a couple of 100 metres down the bank. Because I'm up high. Literally, there is just a drop off the edge. And luckily Ozzy is intelligent enough to not jump off it. He's also waiting for lunch right now. But we're sat on these little benches. I use these benches a lot. Well, I used to. I haven't been up here for a couple of months actually. It's like a little seating area in Cwmcarn by here. And you've got like a little area over there. And either side over there and back up the path up that way. The toilets as well. That one's usually locked, but it's actually not today. So for someone like myself that does have IBS, knowing of a reasonably nice area, actually a very nice area that you can go and not have too much trouble, it's brilliant. It's not easy hiking with IBS, to be honest with you, or camping, or running, or pretty much anything that involves the outdoors. Complete transparency, in my bag there is some stuff in case I do need to, too much information go in the woods, I guess. There is some equipment in there. Where's Ozzy gone? Ah, there he is. You see him? You see him back there? There he is. Just about see him over my shoulder by there. There's not many people up here, so he's just off on his little adventure thing. Which is quite handy. It's nice having a dog that absolutely adores you, wants to follow you around, but also at the same time does like going on his own little thing. Isn't it, Oz? Sat right in front of me now. Still wondering why I haven't given him his lunch yet. It sounds weird with no view. It's still quite a nice place. Even with no view. Especially during the off-peak, non-touristy seasons when the only people that are really up here are the locals. I've seen 4 cars since I came up here, because there is a road that runs along the edge of there. We were walking along the road a minute ago, because you can walk along the gravel footpath, but it's like down the hill, down there somewhere, and you've got to start like miles away down that way to get on there, or miles that way to get on there. And then you also don't get very easy access to this little seating area, which is higher up, which during a much better weather day you'd get significantly better view. But it's still a nice spot to have lunch though, so. And Ozzy likes it up here, and so do I. I haven't been on this particular spot for months though, as I said. Normally I spend most of my time way further over there towards Twmbarlwm. I'll go Twmbarlwm over to the little forest bit, and then I'll come back to Twmbarlwm, usually have lunch up on Twmbarlwm. But as much as it's a bit drier down by here, you can actually kind of see the mist in the air. You see that then? It's coming down on my shoulders. It's not raining, it's just because it's so foggy and it's a very thick fog. It's like really damp, misty air. It's quite refreshing actually as well. I probably should have stayed on the other side though if I wanted silence. Unfortunately, even though I can't see Cwmcarn down there, way down there, I can still hear it. It's a heavy traffic area down the bottom, even though it's like probably a good 2 miles to the nearest road, like main road down there where there's going to be a lot of traffic. The road up here is just like a little access road for Cwmcarn Forest Drive, so you can drive in from the bottom and then come up and then go up and around and all that. And there's a few parking spots, little parking spaces. There's like a 6-car space over there, and there's another 6-car space a bit further down. I think there's one back there as well. This little seating area is gated off, which it didn't used to be. They used to just have it open and cyclists would just come straight through, but now there's no cyclist signs on both gates, and they put gates up. And Ozzy looks like he's fallen asleep. You okay down there, buddy? I'd say it's amazing having a dog that's so dedicated to following you around, but he's also got his own little adventure mind as well. He wants to go on adventures with me, but he will, you know, if I'm doing a video, he will wander off and go and do his own thing. And he's just heard a noise up the bank at the moment. Any of you guys have adventure dogs that you go on adventures with? I'm so glad I am glad that I got a dog to go on an adventure with, to be honest with you. I almost didn't have him though. But that was a whole mental health thing. I have explained that in a previous video. I almost made a huge mistake at one point. And that would have been a mistake that I would have regretted for a very long time. And it's not even worth thinking about, really. Just basking in the silence. Or as much silence as you can with the traffic noise down that way. It's nice being out in nature as well, because I recently got into, well, not recently, I've been researching it for a while, more of sort of Norse paganism stuff, which is very, a lot of people, oh, Vikings, murder. No, it's obviously not that anymore. It's a lot about nature, a lot about appreciating being outdoors, appreciating other people and stuff like that. I'm not going to preach to you, because that's not what Norse paganism is about. Someone's going to ask. I'm mostly looking into Asatru Paganism, just in case anyone wants to ask. There's loads of different versions. You could literally, there is a rabbit hole of information I've gone down to get to what I know at the moment. I'm still researching. Still got bits, still got things to look into. It's one of those things where you can constantly look into stuff and there's always something you didn't know. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks recently about Norse paganism. Recently listened to one that concentrated mostly on Loki, and there's a few and the misconceptions that are around Loki and things like that. Fun fact, if Ozzy didn't already come with a name, he probably would have had some kind of Norse god name by now. Probably Loki, or I kind of like the name Heimdall, but it's a bit harder to explain. It's a bit harder to explain, and it's very much harder to spell. Maybe Freyr. Those two always get mixed up. Freya, brother and sister. So much deep sort of historical information you can go into with all this stuff. A lot of people have probably realised I've started collecting some Viking stuff. I've got a drinking horn. So I got 2 drinking horns actually. One my sister bought me last year. I tend to use that one more as a ornamental one because it's a nice one. I don't want to ruin it. Saying that, I bought a Viking horn drinking cup from Ravenforge. I got one from there. I use that more often for actual drinking, but I tend to use it when I'm out hiking drinking. Put my water in it. I don't drink alcohol, to be honest with you, so it's usually water. Ordnance Survey water container, thermal one. Yeah, I'm going to make sure that my watch doesn't stop. The Garmin's paused, but it stops automatically if you don't press resume after a certain amount of time. So I'll sit up here. I'll have a bit of lunch. Have a drink from my little Viking horn. It's a flat bottom one, so I don't have to have the stand and everything with me. It's more of a cup than a horn. but you got the big horn, which is what I've got at home. I tend to use that for more ornamental purposes, because I don't want to ruin it. But these Raven Forge ones come with a nice little bag as well. Oh yeah, just actually, I'm talking about it. Why didn't I just pop it out and show it to you guys? It's literally in the bag. Sorry, you guys are getting all over the place by the gimbal right now. Raven Forge. Ozzy knows this one, because rather funnily, he snuck a drink out of it last time I used it. Didn't you, pups? Because I put it down somewhere and you snuck a drink out of it. So there's my drinking horn. Simple little drinking horn. I know that looks dirty, it's not. It's just, obviously, animal horns, they are never the same. So whatever one you get is the one you get. Nice little base on it. Cool. Not really an official review. Actually, it's got a bit of dust in there. Only problem with with these little Hessian bags, you do get dust inside your cup. But yeah, no, I'm probably going to sit up here now. A little bit of a drink from my horn. Might pour some out for one of the gods. You never know. I'm not fanatical about it, don't worry. But there's so much interesting stuff to look into when it comes to Norse paganism and the various different versions of paganism. So many cool, interesting things to look into. And even better, unlike other religions, you're not forced to do anything. You can pretty much live it however you feel necessary, which is quite good. You don't want to pray every day? You don't pray every day. I don't pray every day. But you can just make offerings other ways. You make little offerings, you can pour some drink out for the gods, you can do whatever you want, really. There's going to be a lot of people with questions after this video. Wasn't really expecting to sit down and explain any of it, to be honest with you. I could explain it in more detail in the future if you'd like. At the moment I'm listening to an audiobook of the Poetic Edda, and I'll be moving on to the Prose Edda very soon, which are basically two books that have been translated many times over the years from the original sort of Nordic stuff into English. Bits of them have been lost over the years. The audiobook I've got, every now and then it'll say text lost or something like that. It's just part of the narration, because that bit of text for that particular poem is lost. But yeah. So there's a group of cyclists there that didn't get the memo. It's not bothering me, but there's a group of cyclists that the gates either end I mentioned earlier, they had to stop cyclists from coming down here because they've got their own roads up there, their own roads and cycle paths. But I'm not a Karen, so it really doesn't bother me. But it would bother others. But anyway, I'm listening to the Prose Edda and the Poetic Edda at the moment, which Poetic Edda is poems and things like that from about the different gods and things like that, Norse gods, obviously. Sorry for that, pardon me. And obviously the Prose Edda is more of the story side of it and more of the history? I think I was about to say historical side of it. A bit more of the mythological side of it as well. You all know some of the basics, you know, Odin, Thor, Loki. Some of you may know who Freya is. Frigg, Heimdall. Become quite popular from all the Marvel films. Although I do love all the Marvel films, I have recently learned that their depictions are not perfectly accurate. But at the same time, if they were perfectly accurate, it would cause a hell of a lot more explanation. So they just went with very simplified Marvel versions of Thor and all that stuff. So drastically simplified, actually. Loki's origins, for example. Not quite as sort of black and white as what Marvel puts out, but as I say, they're comic books. They're not going to be perfectly accurate, are they? That would be a bit crazy if they were. I can guarantee you, if they actually told any of Thor's stories or Loki's stories properly in a Marvel film, it would be a significantly longer list of films and stories, really. But it's really nice, just nice stuff to follow along with, you know. And so you're not forced into anything with Norse paganism in general, really. It's just one of those things you can follow along as you please. But anyway, you guys want to hear more about it in the future? I can do a proper video where I sit down and talk more about it. I am not an expert. I will preference that. But I can just tell you what I can tell you experiences so far, which is pretty much how the whole thing works anyway. Everybody's got their own experiences with how it works and how they want to work with things and how they want to do stuff. But this video is going on way too long. It's a lot longer than I expected it to be today. You may have learned some stuff. If you did, great. Pop it down in the comments. What did you learn? Did you learn that I ramble on for absolutely no reason? Because I already know that one. Or did you actually learn something useful, like how to try and navigate yourself in fog, very thick fog? Well, it wasn't perfectly accurate information. It is information from my personal experiences. It's just my personal experiences. You'd be surprised how much more information you can get from personal experience rather than just Google and everything. And that's quite ironic coming from somebody like myself who owns his own computer business, and Google is literally the thing to do. Tell everybody to Google it. You can't really Google personal experience, which again is also part of Norse paganism. It's all about personal experience. Bye guys. Come here, buddy. Come here. Just realised you guys haven't had anywhere near enough Aussie in this video. So here he is. Here's the puppy. How do you feel that your name might have been something Norse god related? No? No comment? No comment? Okay. Bye guys.